Okay, hi guys, and welcome to a little tutorial stroke demonstration stroke help guide about what you need to do to complete the Crown activity in today's English lesson. So firstly, you will need to make sure you've got a pen or pencil and obviously a bit of paper to write your notes down when you're collecting your beautiful vocabulary. Secondly, you need to make sure that you're in a nice, safe environment, sat down preferably, because we will be using VR, and what we don't want is for you to be running around your front rooms, tripping over things and running into walls. We want to make sure your safety is our number one concern. So let's go for it. First things first, you will need to download, if you haven't already, Google Expeditions. Now this is the same app we used when we explored the human digestive system, so a lot of you will have that on your tablets. If you can't manage to do that, please do not worry. I'll be showing you around the different landscapes. All you have to do is pause the video and then make some notes from there. So I have downloaded Google Expeditions. It is the white app with the orange flag, and I'm going to go ahead and press it. And this will bring you to the home screen. Let's have a look in my library. I've got nothing there, so I need to find and download the tour. So you need to type in we're always making sure we spell things right. Mountains of the World. And there you can see in the middle at the top, I've got Mountains of the World, Google Earth, VR, and that sounds perfect. So I'm going to click it, download or view guide. So I'm going to download it. And while I'm waiting for that, I can take a quick read at the blurb, that extra bit of information. Although most of the world's tallest mountains are in Asia, in particular in Central Asia, where China, Nepal, Tibet, India and Pakistan share borders, all of the continents have great peaks. In this lesson, we'll travel to Iceland and mainland Europe, Africa, Central Asia and Japan to get a close look at peaks that stand as some of the most recognisable landforms on Earth and that have stirred people's imaginations since we first looked up. I cannot wait. So, if you're working on a device which is not a tablet, or if you simply don't want to use VR, you've got the option to simply press view. Let me click that and show you what that looks like. Here we go. So I'm in Iceland now. I can tell I'm in Iceland because if I click the bottom, I've got that pop-up bit of information. I can move things up and down, and in fact I can even click on there and it will show me different parts, the mountain and the big word that begins with B. So you've got some lovely information. What you can also do is simply move the landscape around to have a look around. Fantastic. Oh look, I can even zoom in a little bit. When you're finished with this, all you have to do is swipe over and we're going to take a trip to the Matterhorn. Again, I've got some lovely information and some questions that I might want to answer with some interesting parts to look at the bottom. And again, I can move around. Again, if you don't have access to this, feel free to pause at any point and have a look. Some wonderful vocabulary coming from these already, I think. We've got Mount Kilimanjaro. Just put that down there. Have a look around. There we go. It's quite funny how it towers over the flat land below. That might be a nice phrase. And then we move on to K2 on the border of China, Pakistan. There we go. Spinning around. And it's quite interesting how different these all look to each other. And background to K2. Again, I've got my information, my questions, and then if I want to, I can click on the different areas which it will direct me towards. Simply unclick it if you want to get rid of that. Moving on, the big one, the Mount Everest, and have a good look around there. Again, feel free to pause the video if you need to. Trying to think of some wonderful vocabulary. There's the sun in a nice clear sky. also almost like a river of ice going down the hill there. Fantastic. And finally, Mount Fuji in Japan. Some lovely information, beginner, intermediate and advanced questions. And again, we've got our points that we can just move towards. I'm going to turn that off. So again, look at the difference here. Some lovely colours, different imagery possibly, some lovely sentences that you could build, strange patterns beneath. And there we go. So I'm going to come out of that now, and this time I'm going to go into VR. Once again, please be careful. Your safety is our first priority. I'm going to click on View in VR, and you can see here it's going to be like I'm looking through some binoculars,
Iceland.
but I'm not.
At 463
so I'm going to press the square
meters
in the
high,
bottom right-hand corner,
Keflavik on the north coast of
which will
Iceland's
take me into the full
Snæfellsnes
screen.
Peninsula
Now,
is
my
not
children,
anywhere near in the
if
same
you want
class
somebody
as monsters
to,
like the Matterhorn and Everest.
if you want somebody to
but it is
do
one
the
of
narration,
Iceland's most
you can see
beloved
here I've used that
landmarks.
dot in the middle of my
Keflavik-
screen. I'm going to put my dot over the narration and simply tap the screen with my thumb. I'm going to turn my volume up, and this time I'm going to come back and click on
Keflavik, Iceland. At 463 meters high, Keflavik on the north coast of Iceland's Snæfellsnes Peninsula is not anywhere near in the same class as monsters like the Matterhorn and Everest.
So you can see here the gentleman is narrating. If I want to follow it, I can, and simply if I want to scroll down, again put my central dot, the white central dot, over this part and just tap it, and I can move everything down or up. And on the left there I've got the different areas that I can look towards, and these are shown on the map by these targets. So I can go in like this. There we go. I can cross it off. I can spin round. And in fact, I can just simply move myself around like this, which is absolutely fantastic. So, my first impression here for vocabulary, I've got lush green slopes. Now, slopes aren't very steep. They are a bit steep, but these are lush green slopes. Adjective, adjective, noun. And I can see I've got a bit of shadow right in the middle of my screen, so maybe a dark, ominous shadow. Adjective, adjective, noun. I've got almost a flat peak at the top there, or a flat summit. The summit is the top of a mountain, so a rounded, curved summit, possibly. Now, if you want to move on to the next slide, all you have to do, I find, is tilt downwards. This might take a bit of practice. You might be flicking up and down. You will click on scenes, and at the top here I'm going to go across to the Matterhorn. Double click it, and in fact I think somebody showed me once that you can just simply go on that and move around. So here we go, the Matterhorn. Have a good look round, and this time I'm thinking we've got wonderful adjectives available. Sharp, rocky peaks, dense flow of ice, and if I remember, crystal clear lake, adjective, adjective, noun. Looking around, we've got some lovely other peaks over there. So think about how you're going to structure your sentences. Please make sure you're taking notes either from this video or earlier on in the video. There we go. A sharp rock edge, adjective, adjective, noun. So we've got lots that we can look at here, and again you've still got the option for narration. And if we want to get rid of all that information altogether, just click the information button. Do you see how I'm flicking up and then down? So in fact, let me try. Yep, this takes me on to the next one, Mount Kilimanjaro. I'm going to leave the information because I want to look at the scenery. Over here, we could say soft, gentle plains, maybe. Soft, gentle slope. We've got some alliteration there. We've got a snow-capped peak, adjective, adjective, noun. Down the bottom, we've got the never ending savanna, maybe. And just panning around again. Here we go. We've got, well, right in the center, it looks like something's fallen down there. So maybe some soft rock, soft sliding rocks. So yeah, beautiful. And again, please feel free to pause this video. Let's move on. K2 China. Spinning round, not too quick. Look at this. So this is like a soft, icy river, or it might be a hard, icy river. Spinning around, and we can see here we've got a deep, vast gully. Some wonderful words we're picking up here. We've got a sheer, which means very steep, a sheer ice face. If something has a face, it's kind of on one side, so we say that this would be a face. This over here would be another face. Have a good look around, think about that vocabulary, and then over here, of course, this down the middle to me looks like a spine. So maybe we could use a sharp, snowy spine, and we're using that alliteration there, sharp, snowy spine. I wonder if it's as pointy as a pin. So we're using similes and alliteration. Let's move on. There we go. Don't forget, if you do want to listen, you can put the narration on. I'm just turning it off. There we go. So this over here almost looks like it's been worn away, but then look at these wonderful cuts down the side. So you could say sharp, deep cuts, and it's strange to think maybe the mountain can fill those cuts, and maybe we're using some personification. Here's another face over there. So we can see a lonely steep path, or a lonely deadly path maybe going up the side there, looking all the way down into the distance. Again, we've got another opportunity to use a simile that flows like a winding river. There we go. And we've got another quick pan around. That's quite steep, that's quite a drop there. And we've got caverns and chasms. Maybe you want to use those in your wonderful vocabulary. Here we go. I'm just going to move on to our last one, again by flicking up and down. And we've got Mount Fuji, Japan. So looking around now, there's a path there. I'm just going to trace it out. The, how can I put it? The weird winding path, the weird winding track maybe. We've got a strange bulge over there. I do like that word bulge. So we have got a maybe a random mountainous bulge. We've got quite a flat top up there. So maybe we have a, let me think, the top is a synonym for a top is a peak or a summit. A perfectly level peak, possibly. That's alliteration as well. I'm thinking, looking around, Mount Fuji really stands out to me because it's on its own. So really, if I'm looking at personification, we could say it is a lonely mountain. So maybe that you were using a bit of personification, or it is a sentinel. I love that word. It's on our magpie board. It means like a guardian. Maybe Mount Fuji is a sentinel. And the difference between a simile and a metaphor is we're not saying it's like a sentinel, we're saying it is a sentinel. So maybe you've got some bits and bobs there you can use. We've also got some lush, dense greenery, or lush, dense vegetation. So maybe you want to add those. Anyway, my children, make sure that you watch this video, watch it again if you want, and you can also add all these to your notes. You'll now need to go and complete the Crown Activity template. If you're doing blue, we're just after the adjectives and nouns. So lonely, well, colossal mounting, I like that. If you're doing white, then we're after our 2AN sentences. So brown deep gully. And if you're going for our red challenge, you need to put all these together and start thinking about the fact that you can use some of our figurative language as I have showed you. Okay guys, thank you very much for watching. Good luck. Please make sure you're working to your usual high standards.